We're rolling? Rolling. Okay. Hi, I'm Christine from Unique Sapphire, and today we're going to talk a little bit about demystifying how colors move throughout your project. You always go to your local yarn shop, order stuff online, fall in love with the colorway, and you get it home, start a project, and you don't know what to do with it, or you hate how the colors start pooling or moving, or you rip out the project, you put it back in your basket and forget about it. Well, today let's talk a little bit about that. Okay? And this is Tsunami. It is a favorite locally and available online. And as you can tell, there is a lot of color and it's very dark on one side. And on the other side is very light. Here is one of my new colorways called Mochaccino. It is dyed in 100% Pima cotton, and it's almost dyed like Tsunami. However, I intentionally starved the center part of the skein in order to add variations of the colors. Unskein Mochaccino has lighter and darker spots of the varying colors, which is very tonal. This is where the skein was starved of the dye due to it was dyed all skeined up in a hank. Here's a swatch that I knit up using a size 2 needle, 28 stitches, which would give me 4 inches, and that's a normal gauge for fingering weight yarn. I cast it on in no certain specific part of the colorway in order to show you how the colors will pull in this type of hand dyed. They move slowly and create a unique pattern, but with 28 stitches wide, that's not very feasible in figuring out how the colors will move, say in a sock or a scarf or a shawl pattern. So how does the colors, for instance, in a sock with 64 stitches, which is a normal woman's size sock in this type of dyed yarn? In this sample, it was knit with a knit 1 purl 1 rib using a size 2 needle, so the colors shift in a spiral-like fashion. The colors would continue to spiral unless you're doing a lacy sock pattern by adding some yarn overs and knit 2 togethers, because the rib, as you can see, was just spiraling. Let's look at a possibility of a scarf. And again, in no particular point in the colorway, I cast it on 50 stitches using a size 4 needle this time. I did a few rows of garter stitch, and as you can see, the colors are still pulling without any movement. Then I changed it up by adding some yarn overs and knit 2 togethers. Only then the colors started to move. As you can see, the brown pulled to the center this time. And lastly, I knit a little bit more to show you how knitting in the bias by adding 1 stitch to one side on the right side and then knitting 2 together on the wrong side helps move the colors just by adding that 1 stitch and then knitting 2 together. And this just keeps the colors shifting slowly and moving. Just remember your gauge, the type of stitch you're using, will affect how the colors move. This means you're using up more real estate, so to speak, per the round in the skein. So most skeins come in a 2-yard circumference, which is 72 inches. So how do you find how much real estate you are actually using per your stitches? So I have another sample here that might be easier for you to see. There's only 2 colors in this. And what I tell people to do is find the light colors in the skein and start pulling them out slowly and match them up. Make sure that you have Match them up a little bit on the closed side. You might have to tweak this, but as long as you get it close, you'll be able to find the repeat. It might take a little tweaking to do, and you'll begin to see where and how the colors are dyed in the skein. And like I said, most skeins are dyed or skeined up in a 2-yard, which is 72 inches in a total round. And then you'll be able to cast on, figure out how much real estate your stitches are going to use per the repeat of color. And that way here, you'll be able to better tell how those colors are going to move depending on your project. Now let's talk about an asymmetrical scarf. They're everywhere on Ravelry. And this is the Antarctis, which is found on Ravelry. And this is also knit up in mochaccino. It is knit on a size 6 needle. And as you can see, as I stretch it out here, that's the starting point. And as you add colors, you can see how, add stitches, not colors, you can see how they pull in various points. And as you go along, you know, in between the garter and the yarn over, like lacy areas of the shawl, you know, it kind of creates a somewhat stripy, but not totally stripy that you're not going to be comfortable with. However, depending on the number of stitches you have, it will pull the colors depending on your gauge. And I hope this helps, you know, in understanding how the colors will move for you.